businesses being denied, for example, trade credit insurance in the wake of the current crisis?
You're right, and you see much more complexity than that. Again, I don't know if you remember when we discussed it, when COVID kicked off, within weeks you had, or within days, you had insurers rushing out exclusions before those end March renewals 2 years ago. So what we're seeing today, this week we're seeing very difficult exclusions. So we have a business, a construction company that has complex supply chains right across Eastern Europe. And you've got exclusions coming on, and you can understand why these exclusions are coming on, because the insurers are saying we don't want to insure things that relate to Russia. But instead of just talking about legal entities, they talk about Russian persons, Russian people. So you can have somebody with a supply chain, and they're expected to vet whether every board member of some second-tier or third-tier supplier in Czechoslovakia has any Russian nationals on its board. We have a liability policy this week we're dealing with, which protects directors of boards when they're sued personally. And you've got an exclusion on there for, again, any persons related to Russia. So if a company here in the UK has a dual national on its board and it sues this customer of ours with this exclusion, there's no cover because they simply have a dual national Russian on their board. Now, some of these things are not what the insurers intend. The problem is the insurance industry moves quickly to protect itself. And it uses law firms that draft these clauses badly, and they cut swathes of cover, and the brokers aren't really geared up to advise on it, and the customers aren't really geared up to evaluate it themselves. So I think that you will see reductions in things like trade credit, as you said, but actually it's the subjectivities, it's the conditions, it's the exclusions across all sorts of policies that create all sorts of problems.
All right, Bruce, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again about this in coming months. Thanks very much indeed for joining me today.
Thanks very much, Ian.
Some other business news for you now. And the online fashion retailer Boohoo has reported a collapse in profits following a surge in freight costs and a spike in product returns. The decline also reflects a big increase in investment, including the opening of 2 new UK distribution centres, the relaunch of Debenhams and the integration and relaunch of the newly acquired Dorothy Perkins, Wallace and Burton brands. Well, pre-tax profits for the year to the end of February came in at £7.8 million. That was down from £124.7 million during the previous 12 months. But John Little, the chief executive, insisted Boohoo was winning market share in the UK and the US and said that over the last 2 years, the company had grown its active customer numbers by 43% to 20 million. Pub operator JD Wetherspoon said this morning it expects to break even during its current financial year, which finishes at the end of July. The company said that during the 13 weeks to the 24th of April, its sales on a like-for-like basis were down by 4% compared with the same period in 2019 before the pandemic struck. It said that since the 13th of March, shortly after COVID restrictions came to an end in England, it had been trading profitably. And the food delivery app Just Eat Takeaway is facing a showdown with investors at its annual meeting later today. Catrock, the company's second biggest shareholder, is urging investors to vote against the reappointment of Brent Vissink, the company's chief financial officer, along with other members of the supervisory board. Well, some other shareholders have already said publicly that they will vote alongside Catrock. Just Eat is under fire for lacklustre performance and for overpaying last year for the US business Grubhub, which it recently put up for sale. Now, the last 3 decades saw globalisation, increasing interconnectivity around the world through trade and travel. But the pandemic and now the war in Ukraine appear to have thrown that into reverse. Larry Fink, the chief executive of the fund management giant BlackRock, even said in March that investors need to prepare for deglobalisation. Well, joining me now is Christian Lang. He's co-founder and chief executive of TradeShift, a trade platform that facilitates e-invoicing and supply chain payments. Christian, welcome to you. In terms of what you're seeing on your platform now, does that actually point to deglobalisation?
I don't know if globalization is dead as such, but I do think we are seeing a much more dynamic globalization than we have for the last decade. We've seen lots and lots of activity in Mexico and Malaysia, supply chains moving from traditional markets like China, for instance, or in Turkey, bringing them closer to, I would say, regional shores. So that's happening right now. And it's also clear that, there's a lot of insecurity around China right now. With the lockdowns, more than 20,000 tier 1 suppliers have been shut down in Shanghai. So I don't know if it's the end of globalization or it's deglobalization, but it's certainly a very, very dynamic globalization we are seeing right now.
And which industries are you seeing most evidence of supply chains being brought closer to home?
Auto is a really good example, right? They're moving a lot of capacity closer to home. That was ongoing already under COVID. It started, with the China trade war, but we are certainly also seeing it in fast-moving consumer goods. We're seeing it in pretty much every single area, right? There's big changes, and again, right? In China, I think it's 2015, they just surpassed Mexico. So now actually there's a wage advantage the other way. So I think that's also another reason you are seeing these movements. Companies are doing what they can to optimize their supply chain cost.
And on the basis of what you're seeing, are these likely to be permanent changes in the way that supply chains are structured? Or do you think this is just a temporary response to lockdowns in places like China?
Yeah, look, I think the dynamic environment is here to stay, right? And I think we've been very, very lucky the last 20 years when we designed supply chains. It's been in a stable world with very little change. And I think all of the paradigms from that period needs to go out the window, and we need to think about a world that is far more dynamic, that is far more changing, and where cost of change is probably as important as the cost of transaction or cost of goods. I also think, just talking about how dynamic it is, we saw a 28-point drop in purchase orders and activity in the first quarter, which is pretty much close to what we saw in the beginning of COVID, right? So it is far more unpredictable what these long-term effects are going to be, even next year, and how that's going to generate new supply chain shocks.
Globalization, this is a massive generalization, but I think it's probably fair to say that globalization did bring down prices around the world. Does it follow that deglobalization is going to push them up again?
I think we have some levers to sort of push the other way, but it's true, right? It did bring down prices. On the other hand, right now, one of the largest components in most goods and cost of goods is logistics, right? So bringing things closer to home reduces the logistics cost, reducing sea freight especially will do that. The other thing you're seeing on cost is that technology-wise, we have much more advanced manufacturing today. So where it used to be, you need to build these massive factories to do millions and millions of units. You can do smaller units, smaller factories, smaller batches, and probably get the same efficiencies just leveraging technology. So I think in the short term, yes, it is going to increase the cost of goods. But I think in the mid to long term, we're going to see some levers that are pushing the other way, namely logistics and technology, right?
And potentially good news for those parts of the UK and the United States singled out by politicians like Donald Trump over the years who said they'd been hollowed out by globalization.
Yeah, and I think it is a real concern, right? And I think also if you look at a lot of the sort of political environment, it's truly driven about, we also have this polarization inside countries, right? You can look at the UK industrial areas, you can look at the Midwest and central areas of the US, and you have this issue. And I think now we're seeing a lot of potential coming back. It'll take a while, but it's also a new kind of manufacturing. It's not your grandfather's manufacturing, right? It's highly advanced, it's highly robotic, and it's decentralized to a much larger degree than we saw before.
All right, Christian, we haven't had you on the programme for a while. It's nice to see you again. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live. We'll be having a look at how global markets are doing this Wednesday morning. Stay tuned.
Local matters. Down the local, hanging out with the locals. Local parks, local heroes, shop local. Local issues, local elections. How will the political parties fare in your local area? Vote 22. Full coverage on Sky News.
I'm Becky Johnson, a Sky News Midlands correspondent based here in Birmingham. Allegations of exploitation in Leicester's clothing factories aren't new. In fact, it's been an open secret in this city for years. made for people who want clarity in an uncertain world.
We're getting more and more stabbings, and essentially I think it's more and more younger children.
Here in the diverse industrial heart of England, we hear from people who have real stories to tell.
Parents are going to complain like this.
These protests are being organised primarily by people who aren't parents at the school.
We have to be prepared that patients will die from this illness.
The River Severn is still rising, and people here in Ironbridge have been told it could go up by another metre. We aim to be the best and most trusted place for news.
Well, the oil price has spiked higher this morning after the EU vowed to ban Russian crude imports by the end of the year, forcing the bloc potentially to look for crude imports from elsewhere. A barrel of Brent crude currently changing hands at $108.24 a barrel. That is up by more than 3% so far on the session. Well, on the equity markets, the Asia-Pacific region suffered declines again overnight ahead of today's interest rate decision from the US Federal Reserve. More on that later on in the programme. There were declines in Tokyo, Sydney, Hong Kong and Mumbai. You can ignore the figure for the Shanghai Composite in the bottom right-hand of the screen there because the markets in Shanghai were closed today for a public holiday. In Europe, meanwhile, well, stocks have traded to the downside over the last couple of hours or so since the market opened. Here's the current picture. All of the main indices in negative territory like that. Plenty of talking points in Europe this morning. Among them were Volkswagen. Shares in the German car-making giant currently ahead by 0.5% in Frankfurt. That is after it stuck to its full-year forecast today, despite evident supply chain disruption. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in negative territory, currently off by just over 0.5% amid falls for some of the mining heavyweights. The biggest percentage faller in the FTSE, though, this morning is Kingfisher, the owner of B&Q. Shares off nearly 5% there. I think that's after its share buyback programme came to an end at the tail end of last week. On the upside, the leading gainer right now in the FTSE is Flutter. That's the owner of Paddy Power and Betfair. The shares are ahead by some 3% following a soothing trading update. Well, outside the FTSE, the car maker Aston Martin Lagonda, its shares are ahead by some 6% after it hired a former Ferrari chief executive as its new CEO, while the insurer Direct Line, which you can see on the screen there, the shares off by almost 7% there. That is following a trading update. Further down in the lower reaches of the stock market, Joules, the fashion retailer, the shares there are down by some 36%. That is following a profits warning and news that the chief executive is to step down later in the year. On the foreign exchange markets, the US dollar remains close to its 20-year high against a basket of currencies. Sterling, meanwhile, up 0.1% against the greenback and up by a similar magnitude against the euro right now. Joining me now is the investment director at AJ Bell, Russ Mould. Russ, welcome to you. Quite a lot of company news for us to get our teeth into today. I mean, Aston Martin Lagonda, big pop in the share price there.
Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of relief there. You know, we know that it's been difficult for car makers with supply chains, and the company itself has been having some difficulties getting some of its new models out. So I think there's an element of relief. And also, don't forget, you know, the shares have halved in the last year. They're down more than 90% from their flotation price of 4 years ago. So it doesn't take an awful lot to get a share price up after a fall like that.
I thought Flutter was quite interesting as well. I mean, particularly there was a line in the statement that despite the cost of living crisis, people are still gambling to the same degree that they were.
Yeah, I think that's the story with Flutter is particularly in the United States, where the company says that 45% of stakes wagered in the first quarter of the year were stateside. So you've got an interesting split at the company. You've got America deregulating after the repeal of the protection of the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act 3 or 4 years ago. And offsetting that to a little degree, you've got the UK and some European markets who are becoming potentially more restrictive in their regulations. We've got the review of the Gambling Act of 2005 coming up in the UK. And as somebody who likes the occasional wager, and I stress occasional wager, it is now a little bit, there is now more paperwork involved. And if you lose a certain amount of money, you need to provide personal details, bank details, potentially even your passport. And that's possibly putting a few punters off. So it is a little bit different in the UK, where volumes were down. The States, fantastically strong, helped also by the Super Bowl and basketball's March Madness, if that's your thing, Ian.
As you say, yeah, we kind of forget sometimes this is a big global business these days, Flutter. What else has caught your eye today?
I mean, the big one, the intriguing one is Luceco, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a small to mid-cap company. It makes electrical wiring, LED lighting, bits and pieces for electric vehicles, and it's had quite a big profit warning. And it's intriguing. The company said that it's saw a very, very strong 2021, but it thinks now that a lot of its customers over-ordered parts because they were having difficulty with their supply chain. So they just...
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based
Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 074 98911 or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it's Starr Radio UK on the morning show.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Snap like this, everybody. Come on. Okay, and that is how I say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. This is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Today is Wednesday, the 4th day of the month of May, the year 2022, with a time now exactly at 10:39.
The journey is lonely.
Playing in the background, something from CC Baidu, featuring Philip Adzale, from the, yes, and it's known as the promise of God for you and for me. So wherever you are, I want to welcome you. It doesn't matter the situation that you might find yourself in or the challenges that you might be facing. Some seem to be unsurmountable. Yes, they are at times. But hey, be rest assured, you have life. And once you have life, there is hope. So on that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. And those of you on other planets as well, we welcome you. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Well, let me say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, Kojo D, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. Massive good morning to you, gentlemen, and to all presenters on Starr Radio. You can salute each and every one of you, all the way in Aberdeen. To Felix, I hope you are doing very well, sir. Massive good morning to you. Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, I salute you, sir. Hope you're doing well. And then to those of you, my families and friends and loved ones in the Americas, those of you in Canada, those of you in US, those of you in South America, I salute each and every one of you. Let me say morning to Comfort Heaven, especially in Minnesota. And to the one and only Dede Gifty in Germany, I say good morning to you, Dede. I hope you are doing very well. To our listeners in there, in Europe, in Asia, and those of you on the African continent, I salute you all. Amaya Granny, massive good morning to you. Mr. Adedeji, good morning. To see you all the way in Moscow, I salute you all and welcome you to today's program. Well, this is a song that I came by early this morning and I fell in love with it there and then, and I thought, let me share it with you. But I could see the text on it, and I could see that lots of people might have heard it. But wherever you are, the promise of God for you. Okay, so if it's the first time of tuning in on a Wednesday to listen to us or watch us, this is how the program goes on Wednesdays. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update. We'll then move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then we go on from there, have a look at some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria, a quick one from there. And we'll bring you with that one. But for our listeners who want to know more about what is happening in Nigeria, Mr. Olayomi Koiki will be coming your way this evening with the Niger Voices, bringing you all the details on current issues in Nigeria. And then after that, we'll continue to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. And as I say all the time, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, if it's making the headlines, why not? I promise I'm going to touch on it. At 12 o'clock exactly, I'll take you to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. And then bring the curtain down at 1 o'clock when it's all done. So in the gist, that is what is going to happen. But remember, at 11:30, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. But before then, if you want to do so, feel free. Anytime during the course of the program, just post your comments on our Facebook page. I promise it, I'm going to read that. Okay, I hope you're enjoying my music. My music there.
The journey is lonely. Tears at night. My friends become mine.
So let's go to the quote of the day. It says, no amount of resources can make a man with the wrong paradigm succeed. No amount of resources can make a man with the wrong paradigm to succeed. So definitely there's a need for a paradigm shift or a positive mindset if you want to succeed. If not, in the midst of all the necessary materials you will still not make it. What about that? Well, that's by way of the quote for the day. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 10:44 the time. Let's crack on straight. Let's move on to the weather front. Let's look at what is happening on the weather front. Now this afternoon we'll see a cloudy start with a few spells of rain. This will clear to the east later to leave some brighter spells, but sharp showers will also develop, this possibly thundering. Now this evening we'll see showers gradually clear to the east. Overnight will then be dry with a mixture of clear spells and a patchy cloud. Top of the temperature is going to be 17 degrees, the lowest is going to be 8 degrees. Pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level moderate, pollution low. Sunset 2028 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 05:28 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today. Okay, we take a quick break. We come back and bring you the travel update. So stay tuned, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check it out.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep updated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:46. Now, those of you traveling on the underground today, I can tell you that at the moment, good service throughout, apart from the Northern Line that we know because of upgrade work that is going on, will be ready by mid-May. And that aside as well. Okay, just bear with us whilst we try to sort it out. TFL Rail, DLR, London Tramlink, good service there as well. Now moving on to the major roads in London, A24, A3, A4, A40, Central London Red routes have all got closures. Also, A406 and A205 have also got closures there. But as I will say all the time, check before you leave. You don't get yourself stuck in traffic and miss your appointments. Okay, let's move on straight to the river bars as well. Okay, so on the National Rail, hopping on straight to the National Rail, East Midlands Railway, Great Western Railway, Scott Rail, and Thames Link have all got minor delays. And let's try to see whether we can get updates from the River Bus. Okay, apart from the Woolwich Ferry, that is partly suspended, all the others have got good service there. The Woolwich Ferry have got a special service. All the others have got good service. So, I don't know. Let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Can I see you snap like this, everybody? Come on.
Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, promised by CC Beidou there for you. I hope you're enjoying the show wherever you are. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. It is Starr Radio UK, the only radio station that brings you everything that you need to know when it comes from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. Reaching out to you, bringing you tailored measured programs to meet your needs. Okay, so now let's move on to for global trotting. As 60,000 people were killed in northern Nigeria due to insecurity. That's what the CDD is saying.
It's lonely, tears at night. Friends become my enemies.
Well, in Kano, Ganduje has pardoned 90 prisoners there.
We're coming home. We're coming home.
And then, people have been advocating for a Southern president. Well, some experts are saying that, you know what? If we have a Southern president, the North will benefit the most. How? Okay, we'll be bringing you all those stories from Nigeria from 11 o'clock. And the final one that we'll be looking at 2023 presidency. Atiku planning to retain Peter Obi as running mate. You think that will change the fortunes of the PDP? Well, you want to know more? Just continue to stay glued to your sets and I'll bring you more from there. Well, when it comes to the western part of Africa, at times even Africa as a whole, Ghana is hailed as one of the a pinnacle of success when it comes to democracy. But you know what? The Press Freedom Index seems to be painting a different picture. Intimidation of journalists and a lot more. Well, we'll be looking at all that in a moment. What do you think?
Sometimes it's hard.
But interestingly, the president was saying on, I think, Monday or thereabout, that, hey, you know what? We don't want to touch the petrol or fuel tax because that's what we are using to pay workers, government workers. But I tell you, see, the Trade Union Congress have come out to say that, look, hey, you won't lose anything if you remove taxes on petroleum products. That's what the TUC is saying to the president. So I'm going to bring you those stories in a moment, details of it. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Oliver Bakavamawo recounts how an assassin was sent to kill him at a Sherman police cell. How true is that? Oh my God, Oliver. Is he back in the UK for studies or is he still in Ghana? Alright then, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, 10:53. 76 people arrested after police and Muslim worshippers clash in Addis Ababa. What has caused this uprising or this unrest? Sergei Lavrov, Wagner in Mali and Libya on commercial basis. Now it's African countries now seeing Russia as the lover boy. And while Nigeria is seeking funds for gas pipeline to Morocco. This and a lot more going to be coming your way from the African continent, so just stay glued to yourself, don't you go away. But when it comes to other parts of the world as well, comedian Dave Chappelle has been attacked on stage in LA. Video shows someone tackling Chappelle at the Netflix It's a Joke Festival at the Hollywood Bowl. Was it a joke, that attack? Was it a joke as well, or was it a real one that was happening? Well, Elon Musk is warning Twitter slight course for businesses. The multi-billionaire Tesla boss also said the platform will always be free for casual users. Egypt's charity shock as phone card raises fortune. A young woman's donation of 0.5 or 50 $0.5 of mobile phone credit helped raise $1 million for a medical charity. Interesting. Officials spent 600th day in captivity. Paraguayan ex-vice president Oscar Dennis is being held by EPP rebels who kidnapped him in 2020 and is there. Whoa. The Haiti gang leader extradited to the U.S. Haitian authorities say leader of 400 Mawuzo gang was extradited to the U.S. for kidnapping Americans. I think there's been lots of extraditing that to the U.S. This year, is it? And Bolsonaro hit out at DiCaprio after election plea. The Hollywood star urged Brazilian youth to vote in October's election to save the Amazon. That means voting against Bolsonaro, and it's come out to lash at him. Why does DiCaprio originally come from Brazil? I'm not sure about that. Well, the EU is unveiling plans to ban Russia oil imports, the latest round of sanctions to target Russian banks, military personnel, and broadcasters. Can I see you boogie onto the Lord? Come on, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, the division behind Sri Lanka's united protest. The question is, who do you think you are fooling? Is what protesters are asking. All coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. UK housing scheme called danger to Ukrainian refugees. Potentially violent and abusive men are offering accommodation to Ukrainian women. Oh my God! Somebody will say that is why the Home Secretary is trying to do do everything in her power to make sure that people get those who are coming in get the best of hospitality. But what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Starmer says please not in charge over COVID beer. The Labour leader says he has had no further contact with the Durham force after claims he broke rules. University course complaints hit record high. More than a third of issues examined by the independent adjudicator were related to the pandemic. party leaders woo voters before local election. The rising cost of living dominates the final day of campaigning as parties pitch to voters. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. We're going to take a commercial break, and once we come back, I'll bring you updates from Nigeria. You know, it's because it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. So we have everything in limitation. Limited song, limited everything. So stay glued to your sets. If you are standing, hold on to something. If you are sitting, put on your what? Your belts, buckle up, and let's take this journey. Yes, it is Starr Radio UK.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London on this Wednesday morning, 2 minutes past the top of the hour. So in the next 58 minutes, we're going to make sure we do justice with the time that we have, okay, before I take you to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to some of the stories that we're going to be looking at when it comes to Nigeria. And as I announced earlier on, this evening exactly at 18 hours, we'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki coming on with the Niger Voices. So make a date with him. Okay, so this morning is not going to be on. I'm going to bring you all the updates that he sent to me. Let's just do that, and then we will continue with the morning show. Okay then. All right, now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds. Now, 60,000 people killed in northern Nigeria due to insecurity, the CDD is saying. The Center for Democracy and Development has said that at least 60,000 people have been killed in Nigeria's 18 northern states in the last 10 years due to insecurity. In a new report by the CDD, title multiple notes common cause national stock take of contemporary insecurity and state responses in Nigeria. The CDD said in the northwestern states of Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, about 14,000 people lost their lives between 2011 and 2020. Now, the report, which was signed by the CDD director Idiyat Hassan, said the report also measured conflict-related casualties in the north-central states of Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger, and Plateau, revealed that 11,000 people were killed in the period under review, while about 35,000 people were killed in northeast states of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe. Now, tracing similar developments and casualties across the geopolitical zones, CDD in the report disclosed that similar developments continue to fuel the ugly situation, especially lack of education, absence of state actors, economic war, security forces, cultism, land use dispute, ethnicity, religion, failure of justice system, overstretched security forces, and others. In the south region of the country, sea piracy, robbery remained key concerns as illegal bunkering, political violence, headers and farmers clashes, oil spill, cultism, marginalization, human trafficking, ritual killings are said to be fueling violence and insecurity. According to the report, the growing insecurity and violence in the country were also fueled by shifting livelihoods, circulation of small arms and light weapons. Now, corruption and inadequate access to justice, geographic and regional dynamics, as well as ideological grievances. Now, the report noted that the increasing prevalence of misinformation and disinformation across traditional and new media spheres, which may have deepened public anxiety and intergroup tensions about the mounting insecurity in the country, state responses to it. In the southeastern region, the report noted an approximate number of people killed as follows: 50 people were killed in 2011, 92 in 2012, 68 in 2013, 22 in 2014, 50 in 2015, 225 in 2016, 325 people in 2017, and 160 people in 2018. In 2019, the figure stood at 114. 114, that's 110 in 2020, and settled at 647 in 2021. Now, so if you are listening to us and you think that what is happening in Nigeria, it's nothing that we have to talk about, then, and I think that you might be looking at things differently, because this is a situation where the lives that have been lost so far for the past 10 years, now more than 60,000 people. It's sad. I don't want to compare it with other countries or other. I don't want to do that. Okay, but what are we doing? I know my friend Kofi would say that is why there's the need for the ECOWAS to come together, the countries there, so that we can boost our security measures and then make sure that we are seeing to it that the right things are done. Because maybe if we are together, we'll be able to sort this insecurity issue that is going on in Nigeria. What do you think about that? Well, I want to know your take about that. But 60,000 people killed in northern Nigeria. 60,000. Wow. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, and trying to foresaw a bit of peace and confidence in the system. Now, Kano's Ganduje has pardoned 90 prison inmates. The Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has approved the freedom of 90 prison inmates across correctional centers in the state. The governor has also made provision to register the former prisoners in skills acquisition programs in the state. Now, Governor Ganduje assured that his government will free more inmates in the next 70 days during the Eid el-Kabir celebration. He revealed this when he paid a Salah visit to the Gorong Jotse Correctional Center, Kano, on Monday alongside some members of the state's executive council. Now, party leaders and other top government dignitaries were with him as well. The governor, according to a statement issued by the spokesperson, Abba Anwar, noted some of the inmates were pardoned because of ill health, some because of age, some because of their inability to pay for fines placed on them. This is, as he noted, that some of them were even on death row. Now, the governor reminded them that the pardon was not only meant to decongest the correctional centers, but also to give them another chance to be of good character. Well, that's a good one there. In the first place, we've been calling for not incarcerating people. There are people who, if you go kill somebody or armed robbery and doing all that stuff, no, you have to actually incarcerate. But when people go pickpocketing and stuff like that, let them do some community work. Let them go. Let them be cleaning the gutters. Let them be doing some menial jobs there. And let people ask and they say, this is what this person did, and that's why they are doing that. Rather than just throwing them in some jail and then the state end up paying for them to cater for them. So what do you think about that? So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Updates from Nigeria. Well, interestingly, we have people calling for the South of Nigeria to produce the next president, and whether it's going to be suited to whether it's the PDP or the APC or whoever, they think that if a president should come from the South, running on any of that is in the the banners of these two main political parties or whatever, they think that will forestall a bit of peace and confidence in the system in Nigeria. But well, North will benefit more under a president from the South. Ndume is saying, who is this Ndume guy? Senator Muhammad Ali Ndume has said that the North will benefit more if the next president emerges from the South. Now, Ndume said in the spirit of equity, fairness, the All Progressive Congress should zone its presidential ticket to the southern part of the country. The chairman, Senate Committee on Army, was reacting to Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolo's call on APC to declare its position during an interview on the channel's TV yesterday. Now, Ndume said, yes, I am from the North and I am a Nigerian who believes in the principle of justice, equity and fairness, and that is what the party was built on. And I think what Akeredolo said, I advise the party to take a decision on zoning, but even if they delay it a bit, it doesn't change the position. If you look at it, the principle of equity, fairness is a constitutional matter in any party. Federal character is more the federal character is more encompassing than zoning. We zone based on federal character. In the Constitution, every position must reflect federal character, including the president. Now, if APC zones its presidency to the South, other parties can zone wherever they want. Now, if the South produces the next president, the North will benefit more. Why is it saying that? It said the current president came from the North, and if you look at it analytically, the South benefited more. So if the president comes from the South, we will benefit more, just as we did previously during the former president Goodluck Jonathan's regime. Now, when Buhari was elected, the South benefited more. They have the vice president who is so powerful because for the first time the president handed over the country to him. That was unprecedented. He made some decisions and the president came and they had to overturn whatever decision that he made. So what are they saying, that is that powerful? Really? Interesting. He's got because the president has been traveling outside the country a lot. So, but if the president is not there, it's the vice president who is supposed to take the reins. But I think that was unprecedented. Really? Well, interesting. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 13 minutes past the top of the hour. Now, a final story from Nigeria, and then we can bring the update to a close. Now, Atiku is planning to retain Peter Obi as running mate. As sources are saying, some of the governors are picking the presidential forms of the PDP, which they plan to use as negotiating for the VP slot. Now, former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, is planning to retain Peter Obi as his running mate if he clinches the presidential tickets of the People's Democratic Party, sources have said. The duo claimed the PDP presidential ticket in the 2019 general election, although they lost to the ruling All Progressive Congress, which fielded President Muhammadu Buhari as its flag bearer. Now the question is, according to the Daily Independent, moves by Atiku to select Peter Obi as his running mate are, however, facing stiff resistance from the PDP southern governors who want him to pick one of them as his running mate. Now, it was learned that some of the governors are picking the presidential forms of the PDP, which they plan to use as negotiating for the VP slot. Now, meanwhile, Peter Obi also picked the PDP presidential form and has been screened to participate in the primaries. However, an associate of Atiku revealed that Waziri Adamawa had expressed his interest in retaining the 2019 team with Peter Obi as vice president if he wins the PDP ticket. Now, when asked why Peter Obi is running, he said it's because the PDP will throw the presidential ticket open, recommended by the zoning committee of the party. Peter Obi is running because the party did not zone the ticket to any region. They will certainly throw the tickets open. Every qualified aspirant will contest, and the best will emerge as the candidate of the party. We can't ask him not to contest since the ticket is not zoned to any particular region. Now, what if he wins? That's a question. If Obi is lucky enough to get a majority of the delegates and becomes the presidential candidate, Atiku and all of us will give him maximum support, he said. A former member of the party's National Working Committee, who also confirmed the development, said while Atiku prefers Obi, he may pander to the wishes of the governors as they are the major power brokers in the party. Now, Wike is contesting for the presidency because he believes that if the party zones the position to the south, he would win. But now that the party will throw the ticket open, he has his own eyes on the VIP slot. So that brings us to the end of the stories making the rounds from Nigeria, updates from Nigeria this morning. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 70 minutes past the top of the hour. A quick break. We come back and I bring you the one and only stories making the rounds from Ghana as well as we go. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of
Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to? Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me. Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to? We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many, many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Well, which way Nigeria? Should Nigeria go for the 2023 elections? What is going to be the outcome of that election? Do you think that will forestall peace that the country needs? Looking at how many people who have been killed in the north, 60,000 for the past 10 years in the north. Killed. So if you take the country as a whole, how many people have lost their lives there? Interesting. But, well, Sonny Okuso on the late poses the question, which way? And which way do you think Nigeria can go now? Well, we want you to continue to stay tuned with us and don't you go away. Now let's move on straight to Ghana, where some of the stories making the rounds, quite an interesting one. When we talk about Ghana and democracy, Ghana is hailed as one of the pinnacles or the staunch countries when it comes to democracy. And we talk about democracy, we talk about 30 years on, all that cool meaning that has gone on. But the World Press Freedom Index, Ghana has dropped by, as the Ghanaians would say, a one-tom 30 places to 61. Now, the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleimana let me get a name. Good. Suleimana Brahima has said he is not surprised Ghana has dropped in the latest World Press Freedom Index. It is an unfortunate development that we shouldn't get to where we are now. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, the signals were clear that if proper steps were not taken, if proper steps were not taken, we were going to lose the prestigious position and the credibility it poses on our democracy. So it is unfortunate that but that's where we are now. It comes down to the attitude of government of Ghana, and the government attitude is so important, he says. Now, because of it, it is a government which includes all state institutions. Let me just finish that quickly, then I can get Mr. Kofi Ali, who's joined him, to bring his state. his statement. The government attitude is important because it is a government which includes all state institutions. The attitude on matters that border on press freedom and free speech infrastructure are so critical, Mr. Bremer said. Now, he continued by saying, when you have a government that is determined to apply a law that is so nebulous, a law that when the president himself, when he was not a president, he described as an arcane law, and yet come to power and his government decides to cheaply use it to abuse the rights of the people, then what do you think? Now, Ghana has dropped 30 places from 2021 to rank 60th on the World Press Freedom Index 2022 with a score of 67.43. We'll be talking more about that in a moment, but because we are pressed with time, so let me go straight to Mr. Kofi Ali, who has also joined. Kofi, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well, thank you.
Yes, I'm also fine. Yes, I call in to raise a concern about whether we all know what we are doing. That starts with the issue. Let me take the last one, or let's go. Now, you remember you were talking about Nigeria.
Yeah.
So many people there, didn't it?
Yeah, 60,000 for the north only.
Which everybody feel is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Even a madman in Nigeria will tell you that is unacceptable. Good. Then you came to, before I come back to this very issue I just touched on, you came to the issue of, what do you call it, the zoning of the president.
Yeah.
As a form of way out of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the first time you're having a president from Nigeria?
No, we had Obasanjo
from the south.
Jonathan was also from there, so.
Good. Tell me exactly what they did that made any drastic change that wouldn't have made all this evil to be happening, that when they come tomorrow, they will do, it's Oshubanjo or whoever comes to do anything better. You let us reach it until we're able to see, there is hope. Because when you're on a trip, on a journey, you look at how you travel along, evaluate each thing. And as you're evaluating your steps, as you are going, I'm sure in the feeling, I do emphasize things like that. You need to look at what you probably are doing wrong so that you can see what you can do better than sticking with the old same mistake. It means you are a type of people that never learn. What then is in our DNA that make it impossible for us to learn simple things? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
I want to touch on something. I have been coming on this platform close to 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
Actively. And every day I talk, I don't think, painfully with all due respect, you don't understand what I'm saying. When I say things, then you want to repeat what I say, but you do it wrongly. Every day. It's the same. I'll say it. You repeat what I say just to emphasize, then you say it wrongly again and again. And I'll come to correct you, you say it wrong again. We in West Africa are united already.
Okay.
The OAU at the continental level united the continent of Africa. So the issue of unity is not what we are talking about. The issue of coming together is not what I'm talking about in West Africa. If you are not together, why do we have the chairman of the ECOWAS Commission, president, ECOWAS Assembly? If who is he there as a chairman of the authority of ECOWAS? Who is he there to work for if we are not united? If we are not united, why do we have the president of the ECOWAS Commission like the European Union? If we are not united, why do we have a common parliament for the whole of West Africa that I've been seeing every day that you people refuse to understand me? Or what again do we want? Do we want to be embracing ourselves? We have one passport already. We are talking about common currency. We have ECOMOG. What we should be talking about is why are these things not working? And come up with solutions. I don't know whether you understand me here.
Yeah.
They are not giving us the results that we need, like Abraham Lincoln will say. Stop asking for what do you call it? Africa can do, America is doing, can do for you. Ask yourself, what can you do for America? That at that time, we were talking about a union of American nations. Exactly where we are today. We are all sitting down. We have ECOWAS. ECOWAS is not working. It's trying to work. It's not working. And some of us are saying, you know something? This ECOWAS of leaders cannot take us anywhere. Ibuni Chambers, you remember that man?
Yeah.
Dr. Ibuni Chambers.
Dr. Ibuni Chambers. Yeah.
When he was campaigning to be at that time they called Secretary General, he was the one who transformed Secretary General to the president of the ECOWAS Commission. At the time he was campaigning, do you know his campaign? He was campaigning on ECOWAS of the people. That was his slogan. Go and read, go and check. The ECOWAS of the people. Where is the ECOWAS of the people now? How can we, if we say Ghana, and this is another big question, what exactly do we understand democracy to mean? Hello, sir.
Yes, go on.
What do you understand the word democracy to me? Maybe you can educate me.
No, you go on because you have the information that you're putting across. So let's listen to you.
Democracy to me is simply government, or in which the authority, those who manage the business of the people, the lawmakers particularly, and possibly the president. You understand? And we have discovered that sometimes even electing the president is not, the head of state doesn't really come into the question. The most important election is in the parliament, and the British and the European Union have proved it. When you go to the British, you have two houses, House of Commons and House of Lords. You will notice that the House of Commons is very active. We all know those who are there.
Yeah.
Can you see? When you ask people to mention someone from House of Lords, they find it difficult to remember one. Even some people don't even know that Alan Sugar is one of them. Because we know him as an entertainer. Can you see? Why? Because the people elect those to go to House of Commons directly. So they are sensitive to our plight. They are sensitive to our business, and rightfully they are those who are, if the Queen would delegate the role of governance to anyone, they will be the best people to do it. And you see, House of Commons, they go there to debate every day. We listen to them. When they are even sleeping, we are watching them. The journalists, but look at those in House of Lords. It's like they don't exist. Do you know that those in the House of Lords are also lawmakers?
Yeah.
So very few of them are recommended by the Prime Minister to the Queen. 99% of them is appointed by the Queen. They never live there. So they are only there to look at the law in the interest of the Queen. They are not interested in us. Can you see? We don't know them and we don't care about them. Hey, whatever they do, we don't even want to know what they do in their life. Yeah, they are human beings like us. What the royal family do you think we care? Because we don't vote for anyone there. But the same position the Queen is having is the same position the President of America is having. Except that the one in America is also the head of the federal government, while the Queen is only the head of state and commander-in-chief. Can you see? In Ghana, you know we have two houses of laws.
Yeah.
Which one and which one? We talk about the parliament, what we call the parliament. I don't know whether you are aware of the Council of State.
Yeah.
Council of State have the power, you understand? Any law like House of Lords here they make in Ghana by the parliament, before it will go to the president, the Council of State can call the law back and have a look at it. So sometimes the president refer issues to the Council of State and use that as a basis for going to do what he want to do without going through the parliament. Can you see?
Yeah.
But the eyes of Ghanaians is on the parliament, those who elect directly on universal adult suffrage. Nobody will care about those in the Council of State. Meanwhile, there's a way to, like the House of Lords here, there's a way they also go through their own checking and the system that allow them to get into the office. Can you see? But we don't vote for them. The EU is using the one in the House of Commons here. The system you have in the House of Commons, where people like Nigel Farage will go to their constituency to win their election and go to EU Parliament, is what they are using. So the parliamentarians of the EU are very active. The commissioners are active. Can you see? The president of the commission is answerable to the parliament and the people. Now you go to our ECOWAS, you know the one we are using. I know you can figure it out. The one we use in the House of Lords here. The one, exactly the way you choose people to go to Council of State in Ghana. That is exactly what they do in the ECOWAS. It's not working. If we are the type of people who have got a little brain, is it not the time we all back off and review what we are doing in the name of democracy? We all agree we are doing democracy, the government of the people. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, this ECOWAS, who does it belong to? I know very well that the Europeans always cry that the EU is the EU of the people. But everyone knows the role the leaders also play. Everyone knows. But it's the EU of the people, and therefore the parliament is the parliament of the people, and everybody could see they are busy in the middle of it. Is that not true?
Yeah. Kofi, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you. So how will we get other countries or what do you call it, West African citizens to go vote, or ECOWAS citizens vote for their representatives? How are we going to do that?
Thank you very much. If our radio stations in Ghana have started trying to, make contacts, the problem is not at the level of the leaders because they've signed that agreement that we should vote. The problem is in the country where the people are. Can you understand? It is part of the treaty that came into force of the ECOWAS that we, the people, when we are ready, we will vote. Can you see?
Okay.
So the problem has already been agreed on. But if we are not ready, then people will be choosing for us. So it's all about we mobilizing people like you, like me, like Frank, everybody coming on board and we making it our own cross and carrying it. Oziana every day. You see, the West African is aware something is wrong. Everyone is, I just came from Ghana. Everyone knows something is wrong, and everyone. How do you justify why almost 60-something thousand Nigerians will die like that within a year or two? Do you think they're happy? Then why do you think the other do I want to break away? Because they are aware what they have is not working. So everyone is aware that something serious is wrong, and they need a way out, but they don't know it. So what we need to do is to activate their knowledge, awareness. Can you see? Like I was saying yesterday or the day before yesterday, to deal with this problem, you don't go to lead. Leaders should never, because you see, they are sitting in Accra, in the Parliament of Ghana, 8 seats that we have. Do you know they are being paid from ECOWAS? I don't know whether you are aware of that.
Nope.
ECOWAS paid the salary of the members of Parliament who never go there.
Of the ECOWAS members of Parliament.
United Nations.
Of the ECOWAS members of Parliament.
The Ghanaian ECOWAS members of Parliament are on salary from the ECOWAS Parliament.
Okay.
Because if you are a Ghanaian member of Parliament and you are entitled to what a parliamentarian in Ghana is giving, when you go to ECOWAS Parliament, you should be entitled to what you should be giving. Can you see?
Yeah.
They have buildings in Abuja meant for the parliamentarians. Can you see? There are building flats for them when they go there, because that's supposed to be their office. They are coming from Senegal, from Niger, from Mali. Can you see?
Yeah.
In addition to that, they have cars. They use it for kabu taxi, carrying people from, and we even pay the petrol for it. ECOWAS pay them. We give them coupons. Can you see? They rent everything out and sit in Accra. But who can challenge them? Because the people of Ghana, Nigeria, and so on are not aware of what is going on. How do they get money? That is the tax they collect from the border. You know that we pay ECOWAS tax.
Yeah.
They just increase it. They went to have a meeting. These people who don't elect you. Those who are elected to go to Ghana Parliament, they want to have a meeting. In that meeting, they decided to increase the tax. Very wicked people.
Okay, let's run that up so that we can come to the media rankings. Yeah.
So there are so many issues that are coming up, and we need to wake up. Let's be frank with ourselves. You know, there was a news that just came up. I don't know whether you saw it. Museveni asking, encouraging Ugandans to start eating. What if they can't get flour, then they should eat cassava. I don't know whether you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that in the flash, but I didn't go at all. This old man.
No. The man is right. You see, in life you eat what you produce. Is that not true?
Yeah, of course.
But if you cannot produce, what do you eat?
You have to depend on what comes out from you import.
We don't call it import. You eat what you get. You need to produce. Ugandans have to be producing wheat if they want to eat wheat. Tell me, exactly what do they produce in that Uganda? Mention one. Even ordinary food that is essential of life. You are not talking about machines or food. They don't. Can you see? So Museveni is saying that these people have been eating what they get, not what they produce. Can you see? So if now they cannot get wheat and bread because they are not producing them, you understand? They are not capable of producing. Then they only eat what they get. Then now cassava is available to them to eat. Why are they complaining? Do you blame anyone for saying that?
Nope.
Can you see?
Okay, let's move on to the World Press Freedom Index for Ghana.
Well, with the World Freedom Index, you see, I don't know whether you have ever gone to the house of a poor man. The poor man beats anyone. Why? The poor man beats his wife and beats his children. I don't know whether you are aware that violence is more common among the poor than among the rich.
Yeah.
The reason is very simple. You see, press is all about saying the truth. Going to get the right information and bringing it out and sharing it to people, and people who can digest that information, mature by the level of their education, and make what we call a constructive criticism and decisions on the information. And the press is the one that come out with that information. Now, the press in Ghana is not the press. In Ghana, we don't have anything they say you have in Ghana. We don't have it. Even the press is not a press. It's just a bunch of activists who believe in something, most of them fanatics, you understand? That gang up together and then blackmailing other people who are also dodgy, because everyone is dodgy. Everyone is dodgy. If everyone is dodgy and people don't have time to, even if you are going to look for the information, you can't get it anyway. Everything is dodgy because nothing works. In response to that, those that are realizing that we have one of them that was caught recently. Although what he was saying, do you remember the one who was sitting under a tree, had video in front of him, and he was saying something, and they came to arrest him. The one they put in they planted the cannabis on him, that pastor. Yeah. Because what he was saying, you see, what he was saying, he's saying it out of emotion. Can you see? The question then comes back to all of us that, see, in the first place, the poverty, you understand, has driven people to a state of emotion. Everyone is angry, everyone is annoyed. The media is not doing what media normally do. Can you see? If we cannot be able to get things done right, like you see in Ukraine, if mature brains, developed minds doesn't work, kata replaces it. So we are all neither here nor there. Go and ask Americans and the rest who are today talking about press freedom and all. When they were at this level, go and look at what they were doing. It's always dirty. So I would rather want us to focus, you understand, not too much on those things, because those things are a phase we need to go through. Can you see? But are we really talking about the real issues? And were we not here when Anas went to put some video and came up at the ports and people were stealing? Is that not true?
Yeah.
Good. What did he do? He gave the video to what? President Mills. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What Anas is proving is that the security system is not working. You see, it's not the job of Anas to go and be planting video in other people's offices and houses. It's the Ghanaian security system. They are supposed to fight and nip corruption in the past. So if the Ghanaian security system has failed, can you see? Anas cannot be the solution. So if he goes and come up with an information, the president cannot act by that information, because that information, so I went to hide somewhere and I got a video and I go and give it to the police that somebody's thief. And you think somebody is a thief, somebody has stolen. You think the police will follow that video? The police are not obliged to accept that video. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
So that exactly is the case we have here.
Okay.
So it will be good if we can understand that for us to do this thing properly and do things right, we have to wake up and change our mindset until we start getting things right.
Okay.
Media is not bunch of hopeless poor people who have not read anything, and they go and be because they heard somebody say something. Hello.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So we need to move beyond
that. Okay. Kofi, let me
so,
say yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. So we need to move beyond that level of thinking we can do things in a short way and get everything right.
Okay. Kofi, let me say thank you very much for your contribution there. Let's move on. We're going to move on to some other. We'll catch up later then. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. All right then. Well, listeners, that was Mr. Kofi Ali making his take on some of the issues that is going on. Did I call him Kofi or did I call him Kojo? What was I calling him? Okay. Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. 40 minutes to the top of the hour. In the next 40 minutes, we bring the first part of the program to a close. But still in Ghana, the Supreme Court is to hear minority suits against e-levy implementation today. The Supreme Court will today, May the 4th, hear the application brought before it by the 3 minority MPs against implementation of the electronic transfer levy. That's the e-levy. The MPs filed the suit on Tuesday, April 19th. Following the bill's passage by the majority caucus on Tuesday, March the 29th, despite a walkout by the minority caucus. Now, they contended that Parliament did not have the required number of at least half of its members present when the controversial tax policy was approved. The 3 MPs, led by the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, want the Supreme Court to declare the said approval was contrary to the law. The 2 other MPs are Samuel Okudjata Blakwa and the MP for North Tongo and Boko Central MP Mahama Ayariga. Now, interestingly, if they didn't form, when after the walkout, they didn't have enough of MPs there to form a quorum to say that, okay, we got half of it, of the MPs, whether from wherever or whatever, and therefore that can pass. Do you think that the Supreme Court is going to rule against that? That is quite it's going to be an interesting thing. That the MPs insist that the levy will worsen the plight of Ghanaians in the face of current harsh economic challenge. The MPs subsequently sought an injunction against the implementation pending its substantive case. However, that did not stop it from seeing the light of day. And we know from the 1st of May this month, it has started. It's kicked off. Well, there have been lots of videos that have gone viral. Some of them, you look at it, it's quite interesting. I said Ghanaians are quite an interesting group of people. But it is Starr Radio UK. Now, I wanted to find one story that I did touch on earlier on pertaining to the TUC and their stance. The TUC and their stance on government, saying that the president saying that he is not going to take the fuel tax off because he thinks that by taking that off, it's going to impact the payment of government workers. And the TUC that represent workers are saying that, look, We don't give a monkeys. Take it, it wouldn't do anything. But what do you think? We don't know if the president is going to hit to that. We know they think that we don't have the money, we don't have the funds, and therefore if that's going to generate 1 billion, why not continue with it? It's all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, so that at least everybody will agree that we've touched on all the stories that has made the rounds. Now 76 people have been arrested after police and Muslim worshippers clashed in Addis Ababa. The story says a memorial museum and some businesses have been damaged in Addis Ababa after clashes between police and Muslims celebrating the end of the Ramadan broke out on Monday, May 2. The incident occurred outside the International Stadium in the center of the Ethiopian capital, where Eid al-Fitr prayers were taking place. All the glass of the museum is shattered, says Molalem Asafa, manager of the Red Terror Matthias Memorial Museum. A car that was used by former head of state Mengistu Haile Mariam, which is now the property of the museum, is damaged. The minibus used for transportation is also vandalized. The cafe, the computer shop, the bookshop, which are administered by the museum, have been destroyed as well. 76 people have already been arrested by the Ethiopian police. A member of the Ethiopian High Council of Islamic Affairs reported that people at the scene told him that the policeman accidentally fired a round of tear gas, which triggered a confrontation. The protesters came from outside, throwing stones and shattering the glasses, describes Ermas World Day, owner of the cafe, damaged by the protesters. Then they smashed the chairs and tables in the garden, and then they entered inside the cafe, smashed the TV and many pieces of equipment inside. Adds the businessman standing in the middle of his cafe. Now it's quite a sad one, a sad one there. The little thing that can irritate or push us to make us act. Somebody, excuse my words there, like animals, not thinking, not using our. But well, it is all coming away from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, in Cameroon, the UNHCR is urging support for internally displaced persons in the far north region. Now, some of the children go to schools of the local community and they use the health centers of the local community, which are insufficient. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. And we've got another 8 minutes before we bring the program to a close. Now, going straight to coming straight to the UK here. The police are not in touch with over-covered beer. That is what the opposition leader, Sekier Starmer, has said. The police have not contacted him again about the accusation he broke lockdown rules by drinking a beer in MP's office. The Labour leader was pictured with the bottle through a window in Durham on the 30th of April 2021, but was cleared by the local force of breaking any laws. However, the Tory MPs have called for the event to be investigated. You know, is there scoring points, trying to score points. But speaking to some media network, the Labour leader pointed out, said that a statement by the force last week saying they were not reinvestigating the event, adding they haven't spoken to me. The row comes after Prime Minister Boris Johnson, his wife Carrie, and Chancellor Rishi Sunak were fined by the Metropolitan Police for attending a birthday party for the Prime Minister in Downing Street as part of the investigation into 12 gatherings across government department buildings during the pandemic. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK. Okay. It is Star Radio. Okay, before we run up, let me just touch on one other story from the UK front, and then we run up the program. Just bear with me. Now, UK housing scheme called danger to refugees. Potentially abusive men are using a scheme to host Ukrainian refugees to contact vulnerable women. The men, some with a reported history of violence, message the women on Facebook groups, especially set up to connect sponsors and hosts. Now, some refugees have also become homeless after relations with hosts broke down. After relations with the host broke down, or because housing was not vetted. Okay? Or because houses was not vetted. Some refugees have, but a UK government official said safeguards were in place. This included Home Office security and background checks on all sponsors before visas are issued, and at least one council visit to a sponsor's property. A charity had labeled the Home for Ukraine scheme dangerous and said she was shocked by the absence of safeguarding checks. Now, so if we are saying this, then somebody will say that, look, that is why it's taking a bit of time, because they have to do introspection about those who are getting this, the hosts. So we need to work on ourselves first before even we check on the guests who are coming in. So that's what the Home Office will be saying. So they're trying to check on this, and the hosts who have invited or have opened their doors for families from the Ukraine to come and stay in. But this morning I saw another story where some institutions are suing the Home Secretary for delays. But if you're looking at such story, then you come to the point that, or come to that understanding that, well, diligence has to be done, and therefore there's a need to take your time and make sure that everything ticks along nicely. But what do you think? Now, while some British charities have tried to match applicants with potential hosts, many refugees are using the informal Facebook groups. Now, there is evidence predatory males are joining this group. One whistleblower with knowledge of the official scheme told some media network in some local authorities as many or as 30% of all registered would-be sponsors are single men over 40. The majority of them offering to host single women in their 20s and their 30s. So what? Are they looking for wives or girlfriends or companions? Interesting. This is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to bring the program to a close and then take you to the House of Parliament. The final story. Okay. One from the world front. And that says that Russia, the EU has unveiled proposal for new sanctions on Russia, including a ban on Russian oil imports by the end of the year. The plans, which need member states' approval, also include sanctions on individuals, including the head of Russia's Orthodox Church. Now we are extending to religious terrain as well. Now, Russia's defense minister warns NATO against sending military aid to Ukraine, accusing it of pumping the country full of weapons. Now, Russian missiles struck 3 power stations in Lviv late last night, causing blackouts in the western city, the mayor has said. Ukrainian authorities hope to evacuate hundreds of civilians from the city of Mariupol, which is almost fully under Russian control. More than 100 evacuees, including dozens who had escaped Mariupol, as still works arrived in Ukraine, held Zaporizhia late on Tuesday. So, those are the stories that have made the rounds today. God willing, tomorrow will be coming your way with another edition of the morning show. But remember, this evening exactly at 18 hours BST, Bisolaimi Koiki will be coming your way with the Niger Voices, where he'll be giving you all the details. Kofi, we cannot pick your call now because we have to cross over to the Houses of Parliament. Yes, we have to cross over to the Houses of Parliament. So we'll see you all we'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. It's been me, Archie, saying stay blessed. Bye-bye for now.
That we might want them to do, they might not have the ambition to do, they might be quite happy where they are. So we need to encourage them to think about taking on more opportunity. The last one, I beg your pardon, not last one, is recommended that greater investment is made in an upfront audit and advice package. That's why we have the digital health check under Digital Boost. Get businesses to have a think about what do they need. That, again, is why within the last round of the Digital Boost grant, the government introduced a digital implementation plan to get the businesses to think about what they were going to do with the resource. Also recommended the greater investment is made in aftercare, modify future grant distribution process, and invest in internal systems.
Yeah, you've given us so many, and all you're doing is prompting further questions in me, which I'm going to resist asking. Siobhan, I wanted to, because I'm aware of the other people who want to come in. Siobhan, your top two, if you can limit it to that.
I think you did very well to rhyme off a massive list there. I think I would probably go more to the practical, actually. Looking at the previous session, we had Wes talking about agency engagement and curating the communities. I would like to see more of that. We would be very happy to work with Wes again. If they've got a pipeline of companies who are keen to learn more, we have our international e-commerce program. We could create specific cohorts for those communities. So I would like to see more of that. Also, in addition, we previously had e-commerce clubs. We ran quite a number of these in Glasgow and Edinburgh in 2018, 2019, COVID pandemic. So that short shrift, obviously, we would like to reignite those e-commerce clubs, because that's where you have those practitioners and people leading in e-commerce and leading in business actually talking about the benefits of it, sharing their stories and also, their war wounds. And how they've actually recovered from some of those issues. So I would like to see more of that. And if I can make just one last other point, I would like to see more priority made within businesses around designating e-commerce roles within their organisations, because many of the companies that we have worked with, we are seeing e-commerce as an add-on to the marketing team, or even to business development, or even sometimes to the finance specialist, where they're also being tasked with looking at e-commerce for their business. And I think it goes back to the whole point around skills development. Yes, absolutely, we need to be doing more around that. But then it's also supporting the business and raising the awareness of the importance of having those designated roles to actually drive that part of the business forward.
Thank you very much, Convener.
Thank you.
To
bring in Colin Smith to be followed by Alexander.
Thanks very much, Convener. I suppose my question is really around the team from SDI. It's really to ask what sectors and areas offer the best international opportunities when it comes to Scottish retailers, and how can the support you provide directly benefit our high streets, ensuring that some of those retailers are not in out-of-town developments, for example, but they're actually businesses that are based in our town centres.
Do you want to ask Michelle or Neil?
Siobhan, kick off with, I don't mind Siobhan or Neil. We'll go with Siobhan just to help the cameras. I think that would make it easier if I did that. Yeah.
Well, certainly, if we're looking at e-commerce in the round, how we would speak to a business who has approached us, in the retail sector with an inquiry about e-commerce, we would look at their a business needs a digital footprint, for example, they would need a Google Knowledge panel, that the panel on the right-hand side of their Google search results, when you search for a particular business, we would recommend that they have financial solutions in place to help with VAT and tax returns. We would also ensure that they were using free software like FreeAgent, for example. We would also, very much be dealing with them as we would any other company, and we would be looking at the benefits of e-commerce, but we would be looking for them to develop a more robust digital marketing and e-commerce strategy, including development of an e-commerce website with the associated software tools to manage customers' orders and finance. There are examples out there of businesses who are in the retail sector, who are applying, the good practice of e-commerce in their businesses today. So yeah, we would encourage them to overlay that good practice in the high street too.
Is there a gap there at the moment? I mean, retailers have been so used to the footfall being effectively people walking up the high street that they're maybe not aware of these opportunities. I mean, do you detect there's a gap there and there's an untapped resource, if you like, of businesses on our high streets that could benefit more from that digital reach?
I think, Gillian touched on it earlier on, most retail sales take place on the high street. She talked about bricks and clicks and e-commerce versus the high street, which I think, we shouldn't even go down that road at all. I think, digital is such a fast-moving area, and it is, front of mind for all of us, particularly since the COVID pandemic recently. And businesses who are, staying ahead of the curve are those that are actually adopting new digital technologies, adapting their business models, and that's something that we would very much be encouraging, businesses to do, through our international e-commerce programs. But really, as far as retail goes, we would be certainly signposting those businesses to Business Gateway in the first instance as well for that support, because they are, Hugh talked about, the wealth of support and the fundamental skills that are being delivered through Business Gateway. And all of these things, digital marketing, understanding social media, all of this can be adapted for the retail and the high street, but then they just have to tap into those tools and support that are freely available.
Just bringing in Neil now, is it realistic to think that we will have a team of businesses on our high streets reaching out to international markets from the back of the shop, if you like, to make up for the fact that they're not getting as many people coming in the front door of that shop?
Well, I think Stuart in the previous panel and Gillian gave examples of where that can work and where it might not work because of access issues and space and what have you. I think that the starting point for this, as for all businesses, is understanding what the business's overall growth strategy is. I think it's really important that, businesses take the time to think clearly about their future strategy rather than simply jumping on what might seem an easy solution. And I think what Siobhan has highlighted is actually quite complex, and it's fast moving, and it requires both capability, commitment, and some level of investment. I think from an international perspective, it's that difference. On one hand, you can say you're potentially accessing billions of customers, but as in the high street, there might be billions of people walking past your virtual shop and no one's stopping in. So I think there needs to be some time taken to support the businesses to think through their international strategy. Which markets do they have products that would work best for? Are there issues around product localization, i.e. do you have to change your products in any shape or form to comply with both what's demanded in that market, and also with the regulations and legislative kind of frameworks within that market? Are you going to look at platforms that are horizontal, or are you going to look for platforms that are vertical, so in the niche for the thing you're selling? Selection of which platform is incredibly important. They all have different kind of features, different cost structures related to them. So, you know, the opportunity to grow your business through international e-commerce is significant and available, but it does need planning and good execution to realize it. Now, your second bit of how that would affect what happens on the high street, I think depends on who's doing it and whether the business growth strategy is one of both bricks and mortar and the e-commerce or something else.
Thank you. Alexander Burnett.
Thank you, convener. Just as with the previous panel question about digital sales tax, it's just been previously discussed at other sessions of what that might look like if it was introduced, and maybe level up the playing field between online and bricks and mortar sales. I just wonder what the panel's view is on that, and maybe starting with Neil, you know, given your international remit, you know, what you see happening elsewhere, and what issues you see might arising.
So I'm not overly familiar with the detail of what's being proposed in the digital sales tax. I listened very carefully to the comments that Stuart was making, and seemed they seemed very, very, very sensible indeed. So I think the principle of creating level playing fields is a really good one, but as we all know, the devil is always in the detail, and how it is kind of framed, whether it has the desired policy outcomes or whether there are unintended consequences. I think internationally, it's completely different everywhere in terms of the approaches. I think one of the relevant things is that when you are selling and shipping goods to other markets, then you know there are lots of issues around taxation and so on and so forth that you need to be aware of in terms of your approach to the customs requirements for each market that you might be targeting. I think that's sometimes for small businesses that they might not fully understand, thinking you can just run up to the post office and ship it off, and that's the end of it. But you know, we've seen through the changes in approach when we've exited the European Union, there are some quite significant issues that businesses need to pay attention to when they are shipping goods from the UK to other markets overseas.
Thank you. And Hugh, is there anything you'd like to add?
I think I would agree with Neil in terms of his comments on what Stuart had said. I think Stuart made it very clear that we have to think very carefully about it in terms of scale, because there's a wheena difference between wanting to tax Amazon with billions of turnover and a small retail business where it might just be in the thousands, because who can afford it? Let's not cripple the wee business before we even established their ability to do what they want to do. I think was where he was kind of coming from, and I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, thank you. And Siobhan?
I think Neil and Hugh have said it all, really. I've nothing really much further to add to that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And no further questions, convener. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just maybe put a final question to Neil? There's a couple of things. In Siobhan's description of what just get the acronym right, SDI do you do proactive work as well? Do you promote the idea of online sales as well as support? Because I think it was described as when a business comes to you, this is what we do. Do you promote what you're able to do? Another question was, you talked about exiting the EU and the changes. When we were down in Dumfries, we did visit one of the shops it was a specialist shop. They do online sales as well, and they were telling me how they sell a lot down south, down to London, but they said their European sales have really dropped since we left the EU. There's obviously different taxation, there's different selling online than what it was prior to that. Is that a common experience, and how do we rebuild confidence in those areas?
So, great question. I'll deal with the first. So yes, we do promote the opportunities to grow your business internationally that e-commerce allows. So we are being as proactive as possible. I think, a lot of today's conversation has been essentially, I think, around business to consumer, i.e. retail. But I think it would be important not to overlook the opportunity in terms of international growth for business-to-business e-commerce. And we're seeing a lot of that and are supporting and promoting that activity too. I think, as I said earlier on, for us, it's all about helping businesses that have the ambition to grow their business internationally, about selecting the right international growth strategy and also the right markets to target, and then see how e-commerce plays a role in delivering that overall ambition. In terms of your comment about the EU, yes, I would say that is not an isolated piece of feedback that you dated from Dumfries. I think it can be very difficult now for small companies to sell into the former kind of or the kind of European Union countries. There's a lack of consistency across the countries, so it's not as if we've got one new set of relationships with the EU. We tend to have different interpretations of how the new framework works country to country, which makes it even harder for small companies to navigate.
And are you undertaking work to support businesses in understanding the new environment to trade in?
We are. We've done a huge amount of work in helping them do that, and we'll continue to do that. But ultimately, it is more complex than it used to be. We can support businesses, but it's not in our gift to take away the complexity. And just extending that point a little bit, as I said earlier, I mean, across the globe now, the UK is entering into new free trade agreements. There are international trading alliances or blocks emerging in all parts of the countries. So it's becoming a much more complex landscape for businesses to continue to trade in. So continuing to help them and support them will be an important role going forward, I think.
Okay, thank you very much to the witnesses this morning. That brings us to the end of the evidence session. It concludes the public part of the meeting, and we'll now move into private session.